Hello and welcome to another installment of Supersport News. On today's agenda, we will be discussing the issue of alcohol in Australia's sporting culture and how individual teams and athletes are shaping the future of Australian sport and society through their own personal relationship with alcohol. Let's start with Australian sport's perception of alcohol and how it affects our nation as a whole. Groups and individuals' actions can influence social patterns of behaviour and indeed affect a nation's reputation on a global level. Alcohol use has long been a traditional way of celebrating Australian sporting events, from watching a game and enjoying a drink with friends to massive victory parties with excessive drinking. The Australian Cancer Council has researched just how much advertised content was alcohol related during an AFL and NRL grand final. The average was 30 minutes and 40 seconds of marketing per match. Kay O'Brien et al. 2007 found that alcohol advertising is more attractive to young people when presented in sport programming. Boys like beer ads more when placed within sport TV programming, and this translates to them having stronger drinking intentions and higher alcohol use. I think it is time to take a close look at the partnership that has evolved between sport and alcohol over the past decade. To do this, I will analyse the alcohol and sport relationship in terms of the interactionist theory. This theory involves internal mental models of the individual and the meaning making that occurs when an individual associates objects and actions with meaning for themselves. The theory states, interactions create and maintain society and its standards. In the past, Australian sporting celebrities were idolised for their drinking. David Boon, a famous cricketer, was noted for drinking 52 beers during a flight to England before the Ashes in 1989. Many considered him a sporting hero and an Aussie larrikin. He was a sporting celebrity and represented Australia. He still features in today's promotions. Remember the speaking Boonie doll? Symbolism interactions are at work here as young sports enthusiasts size up Boone's legacy and decide if they want to join. I believe the interactions of the past sporting celebrities have had a dramatic effect on today's youth. According to the Australian Medical Association's Stephen Parnas, alcohol remains the biggest single drug-related problem in this country. It causes more death and harm to Australians than all the other drugs put together. Drinking to excess in Australia has become a social issue. 31% of children between the ages of 15 to 17 are exceeding the safe drinking levels for adults. The National Health and Medical Research Council says the earlier a younger person starts drinking, the greater the chance they will binge drink and become a heavy or problem drinker as an adult. Data from P. Vels, S. McCabe, and C. Boyd, 2016, indicate that boys who participate in sport are increased risk of engaging in binge drinking and extreme binge drinking when compared to boys who do not participate in sport. A change in perspective in society can be seen as examples where larrikinism has changed antisocial and dangerous behaviour are reported. The media now highlights stories on athletes' relationship with alcohol regularly, condemning their actions due to overconsumption or promoting those that take a hard stance on alcohol and drinking in moderation. Some athletes promoting drinking in moderation in Australia include Sally Fitzgibbon, Anna Flanagan, Shane Perkins, and David Smith, all advocates of Be the Influence. There is evidence that opinions are changing as the public tires of antics of arguably overpaid, lacklustre performances of elite athletes. Sporting organisations are beginning to respond to these messages as they experience pain when public opinion turns against them when their athletes misbehave. But when an athlete such as Jonathan Thurston excels on and off the field, the pleasure experienced by all sporting fans is immeasurable. This provides a classic example of exchange theory. Athletes' actions reflect upon themselves, their sporting organisation, and code. We now see sporting stars caught between the past and present day expectations. AFL player Chris Judd's tell-all autobiography Inside tells the story of Ben Cousins, the competitive player, and his heavy binge drinking episodes and his antics that cost him his reputation. Team members and fans saw Cousins as an idol, someone who worked hard and partied hard. Using dramaturgical theory to analyse Cousins' behaviour, we see the stage on which he acted, the script he wrote for himself, and how these factors inevitably led to his downfall. His good sporting performances and bad social behaviour was widely reported on, but his personal problems were ignored. The Courier Mail on the 5th of February reported that in a recent public announcement by Queensland Rugby League, 8 Queensland Origin players broke Kevin Walters' curfew, and as a result they have been banned for 12 months from the interstate arena. Players were told that in the environment in which they now operate, they need to make smart choices, and those involved in the accident failed to comprehend the seriousness of their actions. Should these young players been so harshly penalised for acting out Australian antics that have been idolised in the past? I believe the authoritarian actions taken by QRL were misguided. These young athletes could have helped to change the image of binge drinking if they had been invited to change their perspective on alcohol consumption and ultimately their actions, to stand up and to be role models for future generations of sporting Australians. As interactionist theory states, it is our individual actions that create society. As individuals and collectively as team members and sporting fans, we need to be responsible and make conscious decisions around our consumption of alcohol in the sporting arena to change our behaviour influence. So put down that beer and pick up a ball. Game on.